Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're taking a look at the Gouden Leeuw. This ship now with the special commander. We're going to activate every single one of his skills in this game. It's going to be absolutely wild. Easily my best game in this ship so far, including with this commander. We're also running the legendary mod, as you can see here. So we have base 3 airstrikes that we can charge up, as well as a potential 4th airstrike if we can get 50 bomb hits, which isn't too difficult actually with the Gouden, considering we have so many more bombs than the Utrecht. Well, I think this skill is of questionable value. You're not often going to charge up 4 strikes towards the mid and late game, because you're typically going to be in range to be dropping airstrikes on cooldown. That's why. He's still a very powerful commander. Every 50,000 damage we do, we essentially get a 2% bonus, which stacks up to 6% total once we have 150,000 damage done. Easily able to be accessed most games, at least some of that talent. Pretty much every game, you're going to access some of that buff. Now, the most impactful talent has to be the Witherer, of course, where you're going to get yourself 10% main gun reload and 15% airstrike reload. We're going to activate it rather quickly here, to be honest with you. This is a best case scenario. We've got some large battleships that are going to give us a lot of hits, as well as some permanent fires, netting us a ton of fire damage early. This ship is rather unfortunate to play against, I gotta say. It was already one of my least favorite surface ships to fight. You know, not counting subs and carriers, obviously not a fan of those. But this was already one of the worst surface ships that you could face, at least in my opinion. And now with this legendary mod and this special commander, it's gonna get even worse. You're incentivized to go more into your airstrikes, but not only that, you're incentivized to do a little bit less team play, in my opinion, given how powerful the most powerful skill on this commander is, being the Witherer achievement there for our increased reload or our better reload. You're more incentivized to farm battleships, and that means you're less likely to focus on caps, focus on destroyer engagements. Yeah, these things are just going to sit behind islands and try and farm down the battleships. They already kind of tried to do that in the past, but even more so, incentivizing perhaps not the style of gameplay I'm the most interested in. But let's take a look at the absolute power on display here. When you're going for such an airstrike reload build, you're not as focused on your main guns here. That means you're not taking any sort of reload buffs towards your main guns, as well as you're missing out on propulsion mod, which on Gouden means you're incredibly slow to maneuver. This ship can eat a lot of damage. The armor here is fine into this matchmaker, but as soon as you face any battleships with 30 millimeters of overmatch, you got to be very careful how you push out. If I was fighting a 30 mil overmatching battleship here, assuming they were also firing AP, I would be getting smashed 10k salvos or more, because this is a rather large ship, and again, it doesn't maneuver particularly well. It has the benefit of 40-second heal cooldowns though, so we can heal back through a lot of damage rather quickly, but we have 60-second fires. We have the longer fire duration to contend with, so maybe not the easiest ship to play when you get caught in the open, which again leads you to camp islands. There's our first 50k buff acquired, which means we now have a 1.97% buff to our main gun shell damage and our bomb damage. This isn't going to affect anything like torpedoes, so if you're playing something like a Tromp, you won't have better torp damage, but bombs and main guns will get the buff there. Now that we've taken out the Njord on our flank, it's time to make a decision. Are we going to go back into our spawn or go towards the middle of the map, or are we going to push the enemy spawn? Almost always you should go back and play with your teammates. You should not push enemy spawn. I think you'll understand why we push enemy spawn though. There's a Libertad pushing us, and if we were to go back, we would be all alone against him. This is a very interesting push by this enemy Libertad. Certainly one that we cannot contest on our own. So it is time to push enemy spawn. He's going to go dark. We're going to get one strike off at him, and we're on the deep reload here. This airstrike is going to take a while to build up enough charge to deal any meaningful damage to this Libertad. But fortunately, with this legendary mod, of course, giving us a further 25% reload, we get them back surprisingly quick on this ship. 49-second reload at the moment, and once we get ourselves that Witherer achievement, it will be even faster. I should say, you're going to see a couple more replays of me playing with this new Dutch commander. It's not just Gouden that I had an absolute monster of a game in here. I also had a crazy match, almost pretty much equally as good, in the Prince van Oranje, which I actually like more than Gouden because it's just more gun-focused, a little bit less airstrike-focused, which I think is better for the game. I like those guns a lot, actually. There, we've now procced our second damage buff with 100,000 damage, which means we have about a 4% buff to just our overall damage from our main guns and our airstrikes. Pretty strong. This commander is just very good. Maybe not as extreme as something like Confed Halsey, Kraken, Yamamoto, or the pure utility of Kuznetsov, low health, just keeping you alive. But this 6% damage buff is very easy to access, very consistently accessed throughout the game. And, well, there it is. Within 8 minutes of the game starting, that is a Witherer. This is the fastest I think I've ever managed to proc it, by the way. We're in a very close match, too. So we're going to get value out of this entire rest of the game. Potentially 12 minutes of this Witherer helping us with our reload. 8 seconds left on this reload for our next airstrike. What is our airstrike reload now? It is 42 seconds, I think I saw there. Yep, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm not sure this ship needed it, but Wither is your main buff you're going for here. It's nice to have the consistency, but Wither is going to get you the most damage. And oh look, Libertad goes down, thanks to, I think, our Missouri and Iowa getting some massive damage in on his broadside there. And now we get the fourth potential strike. Now I want you to pay attention to how long it takes me to actually charge up that fourth potential strike. Here's why I don't necessarily think that's the most powerful portion of this commander. It's still a good buff, don't get me wrong, but I think a lot of the time in the mid game here, by the time you've actually got that buff acquired, you're probably close enough to the enemy ships that you're launching your airstrikes on cooldown. And if not on cooldown, it's pretty unlikely you're going to wait that full time to get all of those airstrikes recharged, to be honest. At least that's kind of my opinion on it. And here, approaching the 10.5 minutes left on this game, we're about to proc the final portion of this commander. So not even half the game clock gone by, and we've already maximized our commander buff here. So we have 6% damage now on our airstrike as well as our main guns. We also have the 10% main gun reload, which is very nice to have, and 15% airstrike cooldown. That 10% reload on our main guns helping us get more damage into this Cerberus here. Feels pretty good to have that extra DPM, I'm not gonna lie. And forcibly not using our damage control here, by the way. If I were to use it, Cerberus probably just gets more perma-fires on me. There's Confederate, by the way, so we would have had a Halsey proc if we were an American commander right there. This is a very good match, by the way. We're getting very fortunate this game to have such a close game, and also to be not dead while also playing aggressive enough to get so much damage. And of course, we've also landed those 50 bomb hits. So Prince van Oranje coming up soon, as well as we tick over 200,000 damage here, as well as Vrijheid. I'm probably mispronouncing all these names. I do apologize. Never been particularly good at that, but Vrijheid being the Dutch Tier 8 premium that was introduced alongside these Dutch light cruisers, I procced that commander, the commander on that thing as well. That one has the 9.5 kilometer airstrikes. They're very hard to use, very hard to make good use of, but the reload is insane. I managed to get the reload down to, I think, 21 seconds. Absolutely wild stuff. It took me a while. I've been playing around with this Dutch commander for a while. It's taken me a while to get these really good games. You'll see from my initial coverage on it that I was a little bit unsure of how valuable this commander was with how difficult Witherer can be to achieve, and that being the main buff. More focused on the 6% damage buff that you can consistently get. And I concluded, I think, that it was a very strong commander still. Maybe not as powerful as some of the others at their maximum, but I think I should amend that, where the maximum power here is incredible as well. Massachusetts behind the island here. And, well, we just drop strike after strike after strike, which gets us fires, which gets us the kill here. Up to 3 kills into this one. Now, this game is not over. We do win if nothing changes, right? We're still ahead on caps, but they're way ahead on kills. And that is going to be a big problem here if they decide to push us. I only have 1 heal remaining, and I believe our Iparanga is going to go down soon. I'm going to get a little greedy here. Now, I'm talking about the questionable utility of the 50 bomb hits, giving us a 4th airstrike. How useful is that? And then I'm about to do some blind drops. Probably not the best way to make that argument, to be honest with you. But I'm going to hit a couple of them. But honestly, I should have been saving these. Looking back in hindsight, of course. Nitpicking some plays here. I should have been saving these, to be honest with you. AP into the Archfelt. We do manage to take him down, but we do take some damage. Props to that Archfelt for having AP loaded for us, by the way. You don't always see that, but it definitely did a lot of damage into us. So managing to get a blind hit on, on that Cerberus, but he's still not dead yet. Obviously healed from when we saw him last. There is our Iparanga going down, and we still are going to win if we hold on to these caps. So that means the enemy team is likely to push us. How are we going to survive this, though? That is the question. I think I'm going to get another blind hit here. These are just too greedy. I actually do hit him there. Absolutely crazy. I should not be blind dropping him, by the way. I'm going to do it again. And this actually gets us some intel on where the Cerberus is going. By the looks of where that AA is, I'm expecting him to not necessarily approach us directly. I'm thinking he's going to come through this gap here to the left. And that's why I have my guns aimed there. But he doesn't. And that means we don't have all of our main guns available. It's only our rear guns, because I'm going to need to stay angled to him. I'm worried about taking too much damage here. We're out of healing. But fortunately, we do have a Holland with us who does finish off the Cerberus. Just barely. We're holding on by a thread, but we are bringing this game back. And we're getting that full value out of that Wither. This reload is helping us out a ton. We are going to take some damage to Tromp bombs, but at least those bombs let us know exactly where he is. There's a bit of intel you gain anytime these airstrikes come through. So I'm going to reposition towards the north half of the cap here. We know that's where the Mosque was coming from. We know the Tromp is towards the north side as well. So I want to force them to push around the island at us. Anytime you can kite someone around an island, they have to push around an island. You're at a massive advantage. So that's what I'm trying to go for here. Trump again letting us know where he is, although he's going to do good damage to us. Now the question is, do we rep this fire or not? While we're still spotted, I'm very worried about potential more HE coming through or more airstrikes, because Trump airstrikes, yeah, there's another one. They reload rather quickly as well. But now there's torps coming in. I need to survive 1 torp hit here and also use my damage control so that we have immunity so we don't take a flood. Just barely. One more tick of that fire, I think I would have been dead. Yet we here are still alive. And we've got our 4th airstrike charged. We've done it. There's been enough downtime where we have 4 charged. And while I've been downplaying the power level of 4 airstrikes, it's going to come in handy here. It's going to come in real handy to have these 4 airstrikes. And this just absurd reload now. Absolutely wild. Aiming these airstrikes is difficult, but doable in open water. Over islands, though, when you can't even see the ship, it is very hard. I'm trying to use the aiming, the mini-map to aim these strikes, as well as just hope my lead is correct. We missed the first one. The second one, I think we're going to get a better hit, but I can't afford him coming after me, getting a good salvo in on me. He reps that strike, though. So we get a fire, he reps it. And he's popped his Hydro. That's really important because Hydros have like a 2-minute runtime, and there's 2 minutes 20 seconds left on the clock here. So we won't have Hydro until, you know, he'll have it for the most part on this game. And we get a perma fire. There it is, coming in clutch. These airstrikes for us. But that Hydro will run out close to the end of this game, and you'll notice that by score timer we're actually going to lose. So I have to be very careful here. But we do need to take out someone, or at least prevent them from getting the cap. But even then, even if they stall the cap, they still win at the end of the timer. I'm worried about Tromp being in the north, as that's where he was before, spotting us. But no, it was the sub that surfaced. Our Holland going after the sub. Absolutely clutch. Absolutely clutch Holland player here. This is incredible that he's managing to go after the sub. And, I mean, there's a Moskva around that corner. It's very scary stuff. We know where the Tromp is. Tromp actually gave away his position, trying to finish us off. So we know Tromp is not in the north. And we definitely need a kill to finish off this game. Moskva looks like he's pushing to maybe deal with our Holland, perhaps. So I dump 2 drops on him as if he's going to push. 34-second reload, by the way, with this AR too. Crazy. And he stops. It's so hard to tell the lead whenever we are dealing with ships around islands like this, especially tall islands. We get 1 shatter, though, so it's not going to do all that much. Our Holland takes out the sub. Oh, and we're still going to lose, but incredible plays from this Holland. We could not have made it this close without this Holland player. Now we just have to blind drop. His Hydro is still up, so I have to be very careful about pushing around this corner. My points on my ship are too valuable at this point. I can't afford to die, so I can't just go around the corner on him right now. And that's why we're going to tuck into this island. Blind dropping his AA, and this is our last hope. Notice that was our last strike. Thanks to our 4th squadron, we're going to get 1 more drop here. 17 seconds left, and we take him out with that last strike. We quite literally would not have finished off that Moskva without that last strike. And Tromp, it looks like, doesn't quite have the angle to finish us off. And that means we're going to win this game with a Kraken. Absolutely insane game. On the edge of my seat the entire time. Crazy, crazy match here. Insane power level, sorry, with this new commander, with the legendary mod, with Howden. There's a lot of buffs over a stock Howden, if you're wondering. If you're going to grind this ship, there's a ton of buffs we're getting here to proc these airstrikes so quickly. But that is an insane game. And I've got 3 more for you in 2 other ships with this new special commander. So Conrad, definitely a worthwhile commander to grind out, get from this new adventure and the tokens and the collection that'll be in your profile. I hope the commander collection and that will be available later on if you're watching this in the future. We haven't had a lot of information lately on when some of these things will be coming back. We still haven't had Lisboa, the Pan-American special commander, and his collection. We haven't had that come back yet for a while. A little bit lacking on the communication these days from Wargaming, and these events are a little bit overly monetized, in my opinion. A video coming soon, looking back on how events have changed over the years, and are things really so much worse now than they used to be? Were things much better with events? I want to do something like that in a bit of a retrospective video on what Wargaming was like in the past and how things are now, because it is pretty rough right now. But a solid commander. I still don't know how much of that of these games, even these really good games, is this special commander, or is it just that Legendary Mod Howden is crazy, and sure, 15% is pretty big. This Witherer is huge. Being able to proc 6% extra damage pretty consistently is very powerful as well. It's a strong commander. It is a very strong commander, but that game still would have been crazy, even with just regular Legendary Mod Howden. Although I might not have won it. We might not have won it, that Holland and I. So there is some value there to be had. He is a very, very good commander. And this was the build that I was running, so very much an AA-focused build. There's a lot of airstrike ships around right now, a lot of hybrids, a lot of carriers, and if we're going to be sitting on islands in a ship like this one, we're kind of a sitting duck for that, right? We definitely need the AA skills. And this 4th tier 1 gives us 50% reload on our consumables when our AA is active, so very, very nice to have that. And this is also with that legendary upgrade, so another 25%. I would say this legendary mod is more impactful than the special commander, if you're wondering. I would say so. This thing is crazy powerful, and the real power here too being, the 25% reload is wild, but this extra strike you get is better than the extra strike on the commander because it is off spawn. You get that extra strike available to reload, and typically early game you have enough time to charge up 3 strikes. You have enough downtime there getting into position where you're going to take advantage of that extra strike, that extra reload, that extra DPM you can load up. Of course, we're taking Airstrike Mod 1. No prop mod is a little bit awkward. No damage control system, given our fire duration on this one. A little awkward, but, I mean, it's another 20%. There's These airstrikes are powerful, man, but look at the amount of buffs we can get to their reload. 20%, 25%, 15%. Like, was this ship balanced around all of these buffs or not? I don't know, man. It's a lot. This repair party coming back so quickly is very nice on this ship, I gotta say. Very, very strong AA on this ship too. So you can afford to sit on some of those islands, although you will still take some damage because your AA will not shoot through islands, of course. 30 mil deck armor, 25 bow. That's where that 30 mil overmatch. If you're sitting on islands, it's a pretty large ship for a cruiser, and you will take a lot of damage bow in if there's a 30 mil overmatching battleship. 40 mil icebreaker and 40 mil upper belt means that this ship is very tanky at close range. Battleships won't be overmatching you here. You do have to worry about giving broadside though in this ship, as it does have an above water citadel, which is good. I think we need more ships to have above water citadels. It looks like it has turtleback, but this is really only effective on lower caliber like battle cruiser guns. Battleships just overmatch through 25 at this tier, so they won't have to really worry about that. So be careful giving broadside to enemy battleships for sure. But incredible game there, one of my best for sure. I hope you guys enjoyed, and incredible showcase of the Howden with legendary mod, new special commander. It's absolutely wild that this is in the game. It's probably too good. It certainly is not very fun to fight, I gotta say that. We'll see if Wargaming looks at the balancing of this, although given that what they're releasing these days, the new light cruisers, this commander coming through, they obviously don't think the airstrikes are a problem, and considering how much they've been buffing them. Good luck, everybody. But that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.